Have you been not feeling happy lately? Are you the person that you may have been feeling overwhelmed, fear, anxiety, depression, and you just want to feel like yourself again and you want to be happy? Well, listen, in this video, I'm going to show you some of the things about your mindset you have to change and some of the things I did personally to make myself happier. Listen, I've been able to work with over 200 entrepreneurs and creators over the last 6 years, and I found that a lot of them get to a point because of the work that they do, because of them feeling overwhelmed and fearful and having anxiety and being super stressed out, that they haven't been able to feel the happiness that they once did in their past, or maybe when they had more time in their hands, or when they weren't focusing on doing something to get them to a better position in life or feeling their purpose. So in this video, we're going to talk about that. Listen, if you want to feel happier, you have to understand what happiness is. And happiness is a feeling or an emotion that shows joy and contentment. And a lot of people who are creators, creatives, or entrepreneurs, they get to a point where they're so consumed in their work, they're so consumed in producing results and being result oriented that and process oriented that they lose the joy and happiness of actually doing the activity and doing the work. And I haven't found myself starting in sales again in business where I started not looking towards my goals and what I wanted and my why, but I started focusing on so much of the work that I got to a point where I was feeling burnt out and unhappy, and I didn't even want to do the things that I started to fall in love with when I first began in business. And that happens for a lot of reasons. And we're going to talk about some of those reasons. And we're going to talk about one of the number one things I did to become a happier person, and what you can do as well, and what you can start applying today to become happier. Listen, I want you to understand this. This mindset shift started changing everything for me when it came to happiness. And that's understanding that you will not always be happy. I think a lot of times people focus so much on becoming happy and being happy on a daily basis that they don't understand that happiness is not always going to happen. There's going to be some days you're going to be sad. There's going to be some days you're going to feel stressed. There's going to be some days that you are not going to feel in your pristine 100%. But you have to understand, how can I take those emotions and start flipping them to where I'm not staying sad, or I'm not staying anxious, or I'm not staying depressed for a very long time. Because no matter who you are, whether you're trying to make your first $100 or $100,000 or even $1,000,000, every single person deals with not being happy, with unhappiness or sadness, right? But you have to understand, what can I do to change my perspective and my mindset to get there? So the first thing, my first mindset shift you have to understand is that your facts are not real, right? Just because you see some facts, that doesn't make them true, right? You may have the fact of you're not making money in your business. You may have the fact of your business is plateaued. You may have the fact of you don't know what to do next. But just because those are facts, you have to take them as a truth for you, right? What you need to do with your facts is start framing them different. What does that mean? Listen, every situation, everything in your life has a positive or negative side, right? There, you've never seen a one-sided bread, a one-sided piece of bread. Excuse me. You've never seen a one-sided coin. You've never seen a one-sided piece of paper. Why? Not because they don't exist, it's because they can't exist, right? Because every single thing has to have two sides. So the same thing applies to your situation in your life. Whether whatever situation you're going through, there have to have a good side and a bad side. There has to be a positive and a negative, right? It is a physical law that says every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So when I start framing every situation in my life, every situation that's going on in my business, every situation that I have, I started understanding that there was a positive and negative side. So my job was, okay, what am I going to choose to focus on? Because whatever you focus on grows. Whatever you start focusing on and putting the energy in is going to start manifesting even more. So when I started focusing on the negatives, I was going to get more negative. I was going to see the full negative. When I started focusing on the positive, then, and when I started getting more positive things start happening, and I could start learning from situations, right? Because I don't think that anything is inherently good or bad. I think that you have situations and you decide Am I going to turn the situation into something that's bad or negative, or I'm going to turn the situation into something that's good and positive? I remember a point in time in my business where we were at a plateau. We could not hit to the next level. We were doing a certain number in sales, but we could not uh, eclipse that. And at a point in time, I was feeling unhappy. I was feeling sad because I was only focusing on what we did not have. I was focusing on trying to figure out why we weren't being successful. But then I changed my focus, and the framing of the perspective of the situation was, this is great because now I understood the positive is that once we figure out what to do different, we're going to hit the next level. I said, okay, so let me just focus on the positive. Okay, what's the next thing I'm supposed to be doing right here? What do I have to change and do differently to get the results? And eventually, in 60 days later from that event, we were able to double our sales. Why? Because I stopped focusing on the negative and started hyper focusing on the positive in the situations. And for you, you may be a creator, you may have lost some of your team, or maybe your business is going from $10,000 to $8,000 a month, or maybe you're going from you just quit your job and doing your business full time, and now you feel like you're stuck and you're not making as much money, to the point where now you have to say, okay, let me focus on the positive. What is the good coming from this situation? So the first thing you have to do is, like I said, one of the mindset shifts you have to do is changing the frame of the facts, changing the frames of the situations that you're going through. And when you do that, you're going to start seeing success. A lot of people that I've coached and mentored, what a lot of people do is that they frame using the negative thoughts in their head. Because we have something that I learned from a psychologist and therapist. His name is Steven. He's talking about the inner bully. That we all have an inner bully in our head that beats us up, that is going to tell us all the negative that is happening in our lives and our business. And our job is to ask ourselves questions and reframe that bully, because that is the bully is there to keep us from thriving and getting to that next level. It wants to keep us down. It wants us to keep us in that same position where we feel like we're not at the level of success and level of happiness that we want. One of the next mindset things that you have to focus on and have to shift is that you have to create meaningful relationships, connections. Who are you around? Right? I see a lot of times people deal with more unhappiness because they're around more people who are negative and are unhappy. So what I do is I audit the relationships that I have. If I'm in a season where I feel sadness consistently, or I feel like anxious, or I'm feeling more depressed, or any emotion that is negative and not conducive to getting my results, the first thing I do is I analyze my relationships. The people that I'm talking to, how are they talking? What are they saying? It's not necessarily because they're bad people. I'm not necessarily saying I'm going to cut them off or I'm going to distance myself. No, what I'm saying is there may have to be a season of separation where I start focusing on listening to people, or listening to things, or being around people who are going to pour in and speak positivity, speak light, speak things that are going to help move forward, instead of focusing on being around people who are negative or may feed into me being unhappy, or feed into validating negative feelings that are going to keep me not from being at the results that I want to be. So you have to ask yourself, are you around people? Do you have relationships, whether it's your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, or your best friend, or your cousin, or your mom, or your dad? Are you around situations? Are you around people who are causing you to validate your negative feelings, validate you being sad, validate you being angry, validates your fear and anxiousness, and keeping you in that same spot? Because if they're doing that, it's easy for you to get in a cycle of unhappiness. And when you're unhappy for a long enough period, that unhappiness turns into deeper feelings and emotions like depression, right? Like anxiousness, right? Fear. But the way you shift that is to shift your relationships, or focus on the people, focus on spending more time or listening to more things that are going to change your negative thinking and help you change the frame in which you see your situation that you're going through. And one of the biggest things I did, and I teach my clients or my mentees to do, is practicing gratitude. If you want to feel more happy for the rest of this year and going into 2025 and the next years, The easiest way to feel more happiness is practicing gratitude. And I want you to understand this: gratitude is a skill. It's not something that you're born with. It's not something that you're necessarily going to just be good at right away. But you have to start practicing gratitude. Why? Because practicing gratitude is going to get you in a mindset of abundance. It's going to get you in a mindset of seeing the world for what it is. Because a lot of times what unhappiness is not a lack mindset. It's because you're focusing on lack so much, now you're not seeing the abundance that you actually have at your tips. So one of the greatest things I did was I started focusing on my gratitude. And how did I focus on gratitude? Number one, I made this mindset switch. I said, I'm going to start looking at all of my complaints as blessings. The thing that you're complaining about right now is a blessing to somebody else. I'll give you an example. I want you, the next time something minuscule happens to you and you feel unhappy about it, right? Whether maybe your phone breaks, or maybe you lose air, your air conditioning goes out in your house or your apartment, or maybe your car breaks down. I want you to start taking the complaint that you're about to complain and say, you know what, even though I'm about to complain about this is a blessing to somebody else. And when I started looking at all my complaints as blessings, I immediately got happier and said, wow, because it could be even worse. That tire that you complained about that got flat and now you're on the side of the road, somebody wishes they even had a tire on a car because they don't even have a car. They have to walk everywhere. Or they have to ride a bike everywhere. Yes, maybe your AC goes out and it sucks. Yes, it sucks because it's hot in your house. But I started looking and said, wow, I actually have a house. There's somebody right now in the same city I'm in the same state I'm in the same country I'm in, that is living under a bridge. They don't even have a house. They don't even have the ability to have an air conditioner or a heater. They just have to live in the elements like they're an animal. That's what the animals is, not a human. Or if I'm unhappy because maybe I burnt something I was cooking, I'm saying, dang, I could complain about this. Now I got to go buy for something to eat. But there's somebody who can't even afford to eat. So I started looking at all my complaints as blessings. That was my journey on beginning to be more grateful, to begin to be more grateful. Anything I complain about, I immediately say, wow, somebody will be blessed to have this complaint. And that started changing my perspective. And then I started becoming more grateful. Now, I'm going to give you some tips on how that you can apply gratitude in your life and how you can be more grateful. The number one way I teach my students how to do this is through affirmations. And a lot of times people say affirmations like, I'm rich, I'm successful. Those are cool, but that's not really going to get you in a gratitude state. And actually, if you look behind me, there's a sign that has some of the gratitude that I practice. Like I have gratitude and affirmations written all around my room. And this one behind me says, I'm so happy and grateful now that I have successful, excited people joining my business every single day. Right? So how you make the statement is saying, I'm so happy and grateful now and whatever. Why? Because you're speaking it in the present tense. Because maybe it hasn't happened to you right now, but if you continue to say it, you're going to start getting more grateful, more happy, and you're going to start using your greatest superpower, which is expectation. Is that when you're anticipating and expecting something good to happen, your actions are going to start to align with what you expect. So when I started saying I'm so happy and grateful now that I have new, successful, and excited people joining my business every single day, I started getting more clients. I remember back in 2021, I think, I was at a point in my business where I was stuck. And I said, you know what? I want to grow my business and I want to grow my income. And for a moment, because I was stuck, I was feeling super unhappy. And I was feeling frustrated. I was having all these negative feelings, which were only getting me further and further away from the goal. So I said, okay, let me take these negative feelings and turn it into gratitude. So I started saying, I'm so happy and grateful now that I've turned my monthly income into my weekly income. And I remember in 90 days, about 90 days later, I got a check on a Friday on a week where that was my previous month's income. And I said, wow. I didn't even realize that it happened because when I started saying it, I started being more intentional about the work I was doing. I started changing what I was doing in my business where we started getting more clients. We started making more sales. And what used to be my monthly income became my weekly income. Not because I did something super spectacular, not because I became the best entrepreneur in the world or a great entrepreneur. No, it's because I made a simple decision to say, I'm going to take my negative emotions and my frustrations and turn it into gratitude. So saying affirmations in the form of gratitude, I'm so happy and grateful now that blank, and having speaking it in the present will give you a way of having gratitude. The second thing I do to increase my gratitude to make myself more happier is that every single day when I take the minuscule things and I become grateful for them. So not just saying, like I said before, not just saying my complaints are my complaints are blessings, but the little things I started becoming grateful for. Because it's easier for people when you talk to people and say, and I ask people, I'm like, what are you grateful for? They always tell me the big things. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for all these big things. Yes. But when you start becoming grateful for the super small things, you're going to see that you have way more gifts. You have way more blessings than you ever think. Like I used to think, I'm so grateful that I have a phone charger. Like that, people don't even think about being grateful for that. But when I started being grateful for small things, I'm grateful that I have forks and knives and spoons. Like the small things. I'm grateful that I have fingernails. Like little things. When you start being grateful for the minuscule things, you'll start having a mindset shift that, wow, I'm opening up different gifts every day that I didn't even know I had. One of my mentors, one of the people I look up to, Myron Golden, he says like this. He said that when he wakes up every morning, he realizes that he opens gifts every single morning. So how can he not be happy? How can he have a bad day? Because he can listen, but he can't make himself hear. The ability to hear is a blessing. It's a gift that you get to open up every day, because somebody wakes up and they can't even make themselves listen. They can't make themselves hear. He knows how to walk, but he doesn't know how to move his leg. Like, he can't make himself just move his leg. Like, that is a blessing. Because there's somebody that wakes up and they can't walk. They don't have legs. I know how to look, but I can't make myself see. Like, God gives us these blessings, and he gives us these gifts every single day that we open them, but we're not even putting them consciously in the forefront of our mind to be grateful. It's like Christmas. Every single Christmas when you were a kid, you probably were super excited. You were anticipating opening these gifts because you knew you had a gift. You knew you had something that you've been asking for under the tree every Christmas. When you were a little kid. When I was a little kid, I used to be excited because I knew I had something under the tree. And there was no way on Christmas Eve where I was going to bed sad. No, I was going to be excited. I was going to be happy. When I woke up on Christmas Day morning, I was super excited. Why? Because I knew I had gifts. What if every single day you realize, wow, I have new gifts I'm going to be able to open up tomorrow. I have new gifts that I'm going to be able to see the success from. And when you start thinking like that, when you change your perspective, you're going to change what you get. Like I always say, when you change what you see, when you change what you see, you're going to change every single thing in your life. You're going to start seeing different. And when you start doing that, everything's going to be opened up to you to be even more happier. So listen, if you're not happy, I want you to try that. Turn your complaints into blessings. Say, the things that I'm complaining for are actually blessings to some people. And then start having affirmations that affirm gratitude. I'm so happy and grateful now. And then start being more grateful for the minuscule things, because guess what? You get to open up a gift every single day. And listen, if you found this video valuable, or you found value and it's helped you, make sure you subscribe so you can get content like this and know exactly when it comes out. And listen, if you found this video helpful, I did another video that's going to show up right here on how to get rid of procrastination, how you can take more action. Listen, I'm excited for you, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.